One, and we are recording on Monday, September 29th, 2025 at 9:16 a.m. Eastern Time with Dr. Dale Comstock and Mr. John Cullen. We've obviously done these episodes a week ago today and 2 weeks ago today about the assassination of Charlie Kirk and everything around it. And as always, it's just, we're wildly speculating, but this isn't a random dude that got popped. It's, all the qualifiers. This isn't a random guy. Guys, go into the description. Please go grab both of Dale's books. Go follow his Instagram. Go follow John on YouTube, his Twitter, his subscribe, his Patreon, all that good stuff. But yeah, to resume, and I think I saw this morning. I have no idea if it's real, but I thought I saw a blurb that said the NSA detected Israeli phones on campus the day Kirk was killed. I have no idea if that's true. I have no idea if that's muddying the waters. I don't know. It literally could just be somebody made that up. I
Mhm.
don't know. But John, update us on exactly where we are now.
Pretty scary. There's been a bunch of shootings and fires at churches and restaurants and stuff in the last couple of days, which I've not spent any time on. I've stayed focused on this Charlie Kirk thing. So, last time we were together, we were kind of hypothesizing about, what's going on, what are we seeing in the audio, right? We were looking at the audio, and were there two shots? Was there one shot? There were two peaks right next to each other. And upon further study, it turns out that that was an echo. And so I wanted to, make sure that we clear up some of this stuff. And I think it's maybe probably important also to share with the audience this process that I use, because people comment often and they'll say, well, Cullen got this wrong. Cullen said the shot was from 145 yards. Cullen got that wrong. Cullen said the shot was at 7 degrees or whatever it was. So the method that I use is from a book called the McKenzie method, and it's what they use at McKenzie. So McKinsey's, this creepy consulting company that does executive level consulting. And there's a book called the McKenzie method. And I started using this method probably 25 years ago. And I used it in business. And basically what you do is you start with a straw man hypothesis. And let's use the Vegas shooting as an example, because we're all familiar with the Vegas shooting and we're coming up on the anniversary. So in the Vegas shooting, I'm looking at the evidence and I'm listening to the narrative. And the narrative doesn't seem to match the evidence that I'm seeing, right? They're telling me one guy's doing this from a window and it's a bump stock. And I'm like, oh, really? That doesn't sound like a bump stock to me. So the hypothesis, the straw man hypothesis, becomes the gunfire is coming from somewhere else. Pretty vague, right? It's not specific, but you start somewhere. And so you put that hypothesis up on the wall, okay? Well, then you go, all right, well, somewhere else, like where? Well, the rooftops of the other hotels. We got to look at Excalibur. We got to look at Tropicana. So that becomes the straw man hypothesis. There's got to be gunfire coming from Tropicana's rooftop, Excalibur's rooftop, because it's not coming from Mandalay Bay's. It's not coming from the window. We're going to see that. So I go looking. But then I find new evidence. And the new evidence says it's not coming from the rooftops of the Tropicana or the Excalibur. It's coming from between them in the air based on the new evidence. So the whole idea of the McKenzie method is that you constantly refine the hypothesis. It's designed to be tested. The whole point is we keep looking for evidence and looking for evidence. And if there's evidence that starts indicating we got that. So here's an example. COVID. At the beginning of COVID, I'm looking at all this data that says this is actually influenza. But I don't know what strain it is. Can't tell. But the straw man hypothesis, McKenzie method, it's influenza. Then more research, more evidence shows up. New straw man hypothesis, it's reconstructed 1918 H1N1 influenza. Why? All these reasons. Okay, that's the new straw man hypothesis. But then new evidence came forward. of another virus in China, another strain that had the same properties as the H1N1 1918. So all that stuff was true, and there was more. And I was like, but that would rule out the 1918 H1N1, and this would replace it. And that's exactly what happens. So the McKenzie method is this constant refinement of the hypothesis based on new evidence, based on new information. And that's what I'm trying to do with the Charlie Kirk thing. So what I've shared with the audience so far are the early findings in the first week or 10 days, right? So when we got together last time, it was a week ago. So that was September 22nd, and he was shot on the 10th. Right,
Well,
so
we got together twice. So a week ago was the 22nd, and then we did an episode 1 week before that. So we
okay.
talked on the 15th,
All right.
5 days after.
So this keeps developing and refining. So it's not a question of were we wrong? And if I'm wrong, I'll tell you I got the math wrong, but I rarely get the math wrong, right? So if the math is wrong, I'll tell you I screwed up. I got, the decimal wrong. That's not what happened. So further evidence, further discovery, further investigation starts to yield interesting results. And that's what I want to share with you guys, because what we talked about last time, as we were trying to figure out what is this? What are we seeing on the scope here? What are these peaks and everything? I'm pretty sure I figured that out. So let me see if I can show you guys that.
I'll give you a share. Yeah, and I was gonna say, and because you and I have talked about this going back years on the whole, being wrong and whatnot. It's a very important thing to remember is this is not the same as taking a college course where you know which theorems and laws there are. It's for me, it's making the podcast make money over the years. There's no set way to do it. You're just constantly refining it over the years. So if we're wrong early on, correct, because all the facts aren't known. You're not learning about a historical event from 300 years ago. You're figuring out this thing in real time as it's going, and it's also an event that very powerful people don't want all the details to come out. So it's a constant kind of impromptu making it up as you go. So you're bound to run into things where you go, "Oh, that was wrong." You're throwing theories at the wall and you're seeing which one holds up against weight.
That's exactly right. And the other thing to realize is, and you said it, we're playing against people who are trying to conceal this.
Yeah.
All right. So there's the evidence we have. It's like we're lucky that we have it because they're trying to conceal the real story. So with that being the case, it's like you're swimming upstream, trying to figure this stuff out, and they're throwing stuff at you as this is happening, right? As you're trying to figure all this out, they're throwing all kinds of crap at you.
I was going to say, no, you're taking organic chemistry and it's hard enough. But not only is the professor hiding most of the book from you, he's also giving you chapters that are clearly bullshit. It's not. It's hard.
You're gonna give Dave Collum a coronary stop. He thinks
Yeah.
you talk about him. We love you, Dave. You're the best there is.
I love you, Dave.
We love you, Dave. All right. So what do we see here? This is the audio from the gunshot and the crack thump. This is from the Adam Bartholomew video. And there was a 0.07 second delta between these first two peaks. And so the last time we were together, the question is, well, is that two gunshots? And I started, hypothesizing about, well, how could you take two gunshots within 0.07 seconds of each other? Well, that was a red herring. Turns out that's not really what the story was. So we go to, let me show you guys what it really was, I believe. 0.07 seconds is relevant because the question then becomes, well, could it be an echo? Well, 0.07 seconds would represent what type of distance? 39 feet. Oh, is Mr. Bartholomew 39 feet from anything? Yes, he is. He's 39 feet from that vertical, like the rest of the building. So the building, there's more building there on that walkway, 39 feet from him. And so that matches up with 0.07 seconds. Sound at that elevation, at that temperature on that day. So it turns out that sound and the speed of sound varies by temperature, not altitude. It's kind of weird. I thought that altitude would impact it because of air density, but that it's really temperature that impacts the speed of sound. So he's 39 feet from that surface, and that would yield a 0.07 second echo. So that tells me that's what that is. Meaning it's somewhat innocuous. It's not a second shot. So that makes things simple, right? So that means, so now it's just one shot. And if it is just one shot that's coming from there, that takes us to the radius stuff, right? So there are certain radiuses that we're going to measure based on the crack thump that we get from different recordings. So there was somebody who recorded off to the stage right, and in that recording you could see Frank. That guy, Frank, what's his last name? Tommy, you probably know his last name. Frank something. Turkle.
I don't know.
I think it's Frank Turkle, something like that. The audience will know who I'm talking about. So Frank is standing off to the right. He's the guy with the white hat. And the person who's recording, I put a yellow pin in this image. So it's to the right of the stage, and there's a yellow pin there. And somebody's recording a video there. And so this explains a lot, this image. Originally, I did the crack thump stuff, and it came out to 145 yards. But those recordings were in front of the stage. And what I was picking up was the sound through Charlie's microphone and the PA.
Oh.
And the PA has a certain amount of intrinsic delay in it, and that was yielding 145 yards. Bartholomew is the guy here in the magenta pin. He's down here on the left side. This person who films stage right, both of them are off to the side enough that they're not hearing the PA. The primary crack thump they pick up is the crack thump, not the PA, because they're off to the side. And so the primary signal I'm getting here is the actual signal from these two microphones. The others that we have, where people were standing in front of Charlie and recording, the audio is coming primarily from the PA. And that introduced the delay, and that's why I was getting 145 yards. The irony is the 145 yards was matching up with where they told us the sniper's nest was, which is weird. So, I don't know if that's a coincidence or something that was planned. I find it hard to believe that was planned. When you use the right microphones, the right videos, meaning the ones that are recorded to the sides of the PA, where the PA is not heard as much, that's where I'm getting the clean signal. So I do the acoustic analysis, and the delay between the crack thump is 1.31 seconds, not 2.3, 1.31 seconds. And that yields 78 yards from Bartholomew. That's his measurement. The one from the yellow thing is 75 yards. And this is triangulation. This is like navigation. In navigating, this is called dead reckoning. In this world, this is called triangulation. And so what I'm doing is I'm picking up a signal that has a certain delay. And from the microphone in yellow, the yellow pin over here on the right, we know it is 75 yards from there. So I make a bunch of radiuses. I make a 75-yard radius here. I make a 75-yard radius here, and up here. And then I draw a big yellow arc that represents that 75-yard radius from that microphone. Then I did the same thing for Bartholomew over here on the left. And I did radiuses for him. And the idea is his radius was 78 yards. He's 78 yards from the shot. So when you draw these radiuses, where they touch, where they intersect, means it's both. It's 75 yards from the yellow pin and 78 yards from the magenta pin. And that is your chicken dinner. That's your winner. When you've got a location that is both 78 yards from Bartholomew and 75 yards from the yellow stage right camera, that's where the shot came from. And so that's how, triangulation works. And so here's what it looks like. Let's put them together and see what we get. So then it looks like this when we put the two arcs together. So this is from the audio that we have that's up on the walkway and the audio that's stage right. We draw the two radiuses. We put those two radiuses together. And where they touch gives you a zone. Now keep in mind, my pin placement isn't exact within centimeters, right? I'm within 3 feet, 4 feet, give or take, right? So that means that the zone where the shot's coming from is similarly a vicinity, right? We can't say it's there. The shot came from that, but we can say it came from there. So the vicinity where you see this red star is where the two radii touch. It's both 78 yards from Bartholomew and 75 yards from the camera that was stage right. All right, let me show you guys the what footage I'm talking about here so everybody knows what is the Bartholomew footage, so everybody knows what the hell that is. Let's see if I can find that. I'm not finding it that quickly, so Tommy, bear with me.
Yeah, I got you.
So, what are your thoughts so far?
Well, I mean, from my complete lack of ballistics to now, but I'd say that I don't know. The takeaway I get is, yeah, if you don't have the exact pinpoint spot, then conversely, that's all going to flow downstream when you're sort of, I guess, reverse engineering, for lack of a better phrase, and where something came from and what exactly happened. So that kind of, and then you have to wonder, if this is really the A team doing this, is that intentional?
Well, again, so right now, so this becomes kind of like a new straw man, whereas a week or so ago, there was evidence that it was coming from 145 yards. That's based on audio coming out of the PA, so that we have to check that out. The cleanest audio we have is the audio recorded to the sides of the PA, and that's telling us the shot's kind of coming from that vicinity around there, somewhere in that zone, okay? So that's, it's certainly different from the narrative. Now, the other thing is that it seems that too many of the big names on Twitter are avoiding the findings from Jason Goodman. So Jason found this video stuff of these drones flying around, apparently, right? So he found this.
I don't know who's been shot.
Oh, actually, this serves two purposes. All right, so this is the Bartholomew recording. All right, so this is where Bartholomew is standing. So the guy who I'm measuring the cracked thump from, it's this footage. It's from this guy. So it's where he's standing. He's up on the walkway. So he's to the side of the PA. He picks up the sound of the gunshot. Okay? And it appears there's these things flying all over the place here. What is it, a flying penguin? What the hell is that? It looks like a flying penguin to me, and penguins don't fly. What the hell is that? X-Wing starfighter? Watch how fast these things go, man. It's gone, man. It's like nobody even realizes they're there.
I didn't realize. Yeah, I didn't because when I first saw that image last week, I was like, yeah, it could be a drone or it could be I didn't realize this is in
I don't know who's been
relation
shot.
to the FPS of people running. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
that's super fast.
Dude, look where this thing is. Look where it came from.
Well, not only that, look at the people and look how much they move as this thing moves. They're barely moving forward of step, and this thing is,
But okay, when it's here by the concrete, right there.
yeah,
Hang on. Right there.
yeah,
You see where it is? In the little circle? Look at the
yeah,
little circle.
yeah.
So that means it's in front of that concrete thing. Whatever that concrete thing is, it's in front of that. That should be giving us a sense of scale,
Hmm.
right? Because we know it's not
Yeah,
further than that,
yeah,
right?
yeah. So, I don't know. And then I don't know, maybe it's that wide, arms kind of maybe out to your elbows. You look directly down and try to find the people that I don't know. It looks maybe as wide as like, I don't know.
And it's ascending. So,
Yeah.
I mean, this is
We don't have video of that or audio video of that prior to the shot.
You know who's been shot?
well, there is footage. Hang on, there is some footage that somebody shared with me. It may or may not be. Again, it's kind of inconclusive. It's hard to tell with a lot of this stuff. I'll show you guys. You tell me what you think of it. Let me just find it here. So it shows us a couple of images. Let's see what we think of this. Just bear with me, guys. It takes me a second or two to bring these things up,
You're good.
but I'm hoping it's worth it. Here we go. Let's watch this together. Again, it's hard to tell, right? So you guys tell me what you think you're seeing here. Now, this is before the shots. That's why I pulled this up, Dale. So this is before anybody's shot. So let's watch what happens here. Is this just a bird? Is this just a bug? Here we go.
That's not a bird.
All right, so some people think that might be an insect, but when I isolate it, so when I isolate the image, we get this. Let's see, hang on. There it is. And this looks a little bit to me kind of like what we were looking at a second ago, flying around. When I said it looks like a flying penguin, to me, this looks like a flying penguin. So if this is that same flying penguin, this is before the shots, and we see it after the shots. So I don't know. Again, it's hard to tell. This stuff is flying, and we know there are bugs. We know there's wasps. But to me, this looks a little bit different than the wasps.
It's big.
Yeah.
Relative to everything else. I mean, it looks like a drone. It actually looks like the drone we talked about last week, right? It had that whole shape to it. It didn't
Yeah.
have the extended legs to it like we're used to seeing.
And that guy, the guy who owns that company, Lucky Palmer Lucky is the CEO of Anduril, the company that makes those drones. when I shared that video of them moving around, he went kind of ballistic. Like he's losing his mind. He's a billionaire. And he's shit posting on Twitter. Take that video and stick it up your ass. It's like, dude, you're a billionaire, bro. Chill. If it's nothing, it's nothing. And then, the other thing that continues to, be kind of like, well, why doesn't anybody want to touch this hot potato is the spy plane, right? So we got the spy plane, and it turns out it was at 200 feet both times, not 600 and 200. It was at 200 feet, 204 and 203 on both passes. So at 3 hours before Charlie is shot, it comes in and does a low pass. It radios the tower. I don't think I had the audio last week. You guys didn't get to hear the pilot, did you? I have the audio. I have the audio of the pilot talking to the tower. We'll play that in a second. So the pilot radios the tower for a missed approach, kind of like a touch and go without the touch. So missed approach. But he doesn't really make the missed approach. He just kind of flies by the airport. All right, but it provides a nice cover story that they were doing missed approach practices. Okay, but they do it twice in the same day at the same spot, and their lowest point in the whole trip is adjacent to where Charlie was shot. So in other words, as they're flying on that trajectory there, the lowest point is right next to the university. Now, this is 3 hours prior, and then they do it again 24 minutes after he's shot. After flying all over the country all day. In other words, they went from El Paso, Texas to Kalispell, Montana. You can't go much further south to north here. And then they flew back, and then they went to Lake Havasu, and then they went back to El Paso, and then they're flying all over the place. And 24 minutes after Charlie was shot, they're at 200 feet adjacent to they were there that morning. Did they forget something? Did they have to pick something up that they dropped off? I don't know. So the thing that's weird is that aircraft is this aircraft. And that's what makes this very uncomfortable, Tommy, is this part. Because this is that plane. All right, so now we got to ask ourselves, why is Pete Hegseth bringing everybody together again? What's that all about?
Yeah.
What's that all about? Is Pete going to sit him down and say, who's the son of a bitch who was in command of this? You're under arrest. You're going to be court-martialed in front of everybody.
Did we ever hear what all has that meeting happened yet? For everybody listening, Pete Hegseth, I guess, is calling all the generals to the Pentagon. It's only happened a handful of times in the last 100 years.
Yes, it's happening tomorrow, the 30th.
But they didn't say what it's for.
Where are they going? They're going to Quantico? They're going to Manassas?
I think they're going to the physical Pentagon.
Okay. All right, so that's tomorrow. I mean, we know whose command this is. We know where it comes from. We know that it's Leidos, which is the former SAIC. All right, can't spell SAIC without CIA.
Yeah.
All right, so Leidos is SAIC, and the company that has this is a fully owned subsidiary of Leidos. And we hear the pilot, talking to the tower. And a lot of people have said, well, maybe this was a Mossad operation and all that kind of stuff. And I've met Israeli guys, and they don't sound like this, right? So I've got the pilot talking to the tower. Let's see if I can find this. Hang on. Tower.
Yeah, I just looked at it. It said that they don't think it's happened.
Here we go. Oh, you don't really need to see it. I think you'll just hear the audio. Here we go.
Tower Axle 10 is with you inbound on the RNAV 13 low approach.
Axle 10, Provo Tower, fly the, correction, Axle 10, Provo Tower, fly the approach to minimums, report the missed approach.
Axle 10 will fly to minimums and we'll call the missed.
So that's it. That says a missed approach. Axle 10 is N1098L. That's the same aircraft. And this is the pilot. And if you listen, so he's calling in for a missed approach, which is like a touch and go. One more time.
Tower Axle 10 is with you inbound on the RNAV 13 low approach.
Axle 10, Provo Tower, fly the, correction, Axle 10, Provo Tower, fly the approach to minimums, report the missed approach.
Axle 10 will fly to minimums and we'll call the missed.
So he doesn't sound Israeli to me. I met Israeli guys. They have that heavy, thick accent. Sounds like they're going to order falafel or something. It's got that falafel accent. This guy sounds like a white guy. Sounds kind of CIA-ish or Air Force-ish to me. But that's just me. I'm jaded. What do I know? And then you remember the plane is for sale, right? We talked about that. We can buy the plane. We just need 50 mil. And if we had 50 mil, it's ours. And then we can, dust it for prints and all kinds. We can do whatever we want with it. But the plane is for sale. And that's the part, that's a little kooky.
John.
Yes, sir.
So you have the audio of that moment where they call the missed approach, but do we have audio where the flight plan, where they indicate that they were going to make that approach? Was that ever part of the flight plan, or was that just at the last second he looped and go?
Great question.
And made that call, right?
Great question. Now so I don't know the answer, but what we do know is, so I've got a bunch of recordings here. I got 3 of them that I gave titles to, which means they're probably different. Let's listen to all 3 of them, all right, real quick, and then I want to show you what we got from the tower. Where do you see this? So that question's awesome. Listen.
397 Alpha Mike on ILS 13 with Romeo looking to go mid.
Axle 10, traffic straight ahead is a Cessna at 5,500. We'll be making left traffic.
Looking for the traffic, Axle 10, and we're on the missed.
Axle 10, maintain 9,000, fly the published missed approach.
9,000 published missed, Axle 10.
Axle 10, you're above that Cessna traffic. Contact approach 118.85.
1885, roger.
So 9,000 feet, there's a Cessna. Talking about missed approaches already at 9,000. Let's see. This might be the same one we heard the first time.
Axle 10, traffic straight ahead is a Cessna.
Yeah, we just heard that. All right, so you've heard everything I've got. So it's basically these 2 interchanges between the pilot and the tower. But then somebody who, was following me and whatever, reached out to Provo Airport and said, hey, we'd like to get, this is FAA stuff. It's in the public domain. Provo City's not allowed to release the requested records. The records are being used in an ongoing investigation and have been classified as protected under Utah code. Now, if it's a ferry transsexual, Tommy, why are the airport records classified as protected? If it's a ferry transsexual dressed up like a Beanie Baby, why would the airport have anything to do with anything?
Yeah, why was there even an investigation if it's just some normal flight?
That's not good.
Yeah.
Not a good look, right? Not a good look.
That's not. That ain't
Right.
great.
Okay, and so again, it's like we're not hallucinating here. In other words, this aircraft did this on this day, and it is that spooky spy plane. And that spooky spy plane is the plane that they're talking about being able to launch UAVs from. And we see a bunch of UAVs flying around. It's like if we just had the spy plane, it would be creepy. If we just had the UAVs, it would be creepy. The fact that the spy plane that we have is the UAV launching spy plane, and that none of the big names on Twitter are kind of losing their minds. It's like, so like everybody works for the CIA. It's like that joke that Dave Chappelle tells about Diddy and the sex parties, and it's like finding out that you're just not that good looking. It's like, it's like everybody on Twitter's with the agency, but the three of us. It's like we're not good looking enough for you. Fuck you guys. What do you mean? How do we didn't get an invitation to the party? Because it seems like everybody on Twitter is ignoring this.
Well, it's what Con Inc. is and always has been and always will be. And you're allowed to, as Tim Dillon says, you're not allowed to question what happened on October 7th or September 11th. What you are allowed to talk about is men shouldn't be in girls' bathrooms. And it turns out the liberals are the real fascists. And remember when Obama, that's like what you're allowed to talk about. That's in the
Right.
accepted, you don't even know what gender you are. Wah, wah. You're allowed to say that. What you're not allowed to say is like, why were there drones in the nearby airport, classified flight records after Charlie Kirk was killed? That's not within Con Inc. That's no, no, no. You're actually looking at and questioning reality. You're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to limit it to AOC sound bites and how Donald Trump dunks on them. That's what Con Inc. is.
It's pretty scary, man. What do you think, Dale?
Yeah, we're back to what we said last time. We think there's a nexus between that aircraft and the drones. Um, the now the shots are not the shots, the crack dump indicates it was closer than we first estimated.
Mm-hmm.
So based on the resection you did, we had what, 75 feet, 80, 78 feet?
Yards.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep,
So
75, 78 yards. Yep.
so you did the resection on that. It kind of brings it into triangulation. And then we have the arcs they cross. So it kind of puts it right at around that 75, 78 yards.
Yeah.
Uh, that would so at that range, 75, 78 yards, because if you notice the video earlier from the horizontal plane from Bartholomew, you can see people on the right side where the shot would have been fired. They would have Now the question I have, they would have seen if it was a drone taking that shot, it was right in front of them.
Yeah.
Um, so I guess we haven't had anybody come forward, go, hey, I saw a drone, I saw smoke coming out of it. Or did we not say we did have that last time, right? Did we not say we had a drone with smoke last time?
Yeah,
We did have, yeah, but it was far away. It was kind of distant. Let's rock through some of this footage here because this maps to what you're talking about, Dale. Let me show you guys this because this looks over in that direction where a lot of people think there's a shot coming. And we do see, some stuff. We see like reflections and stuff in the glass. And so that's legit, right? So this is worth looking at. Up in that circle, there's something. And we see some sort of reflection up there. The people up in that vicinity, if there was some sort of shot taken from there, would probably go, turn towards the guy, if it was next to them or in front of them, or, if there was a shot taken from in that vicinity. Let me see if I can find this video footage from this angle here. I think I've got it.
Yeah, the angle I was talking about was right out at the 78-yard line.
Yeah.
Then to the right, you had people on that side, even on the elevated positions, looking. So the shot looks like it would have come from the trees or around the tree area. And then off to the right side, there were people there. So,
Let me see if I can find that. Let me pull that up. I know what you're talking about now. Hang on. Okay, so here. So this is the perspective.
Yeah. Okay, exactly. So, all right. So it looked like the 78-yard line, 75, 78-yard line is somewhere on the lettering there, say the letter H, on width, frame width. Um, and so
Yeah,
if you look
yeah,
to the
yeah.
3, 4 o'clock position, you see somebody on the roof or something on the roof there. You see people standing there also.
Yes, you do. On
And
on
then,
like that balcony underneath across the frame, if you guys look under the words across the frame, you see
yep,
people on that
yep,
balcony. That's what
yep.
Dale's talking about.
Yeah. And so the shot presumably came from around the letter H, that range there, right? So, but we have the trees there. Um, could have been from the drone. Those drones are moving pretty fast. How fast could that drone take a shot and keep moving?
That's the issue is do we have that capability?
I think
Do
I think I think computationally, yeah. I mean, I remember seeing something about how fast Teslas reacted during like safety tests. And I remember Elon Musk explained, he's like, you don't understand, like these computers are looking around 1,000 times a second, and to them each second feels like an hour. That's why they're able to just to what look to us seems like magic. So yeah, I think if it's a computer, I think that's a no-brainer. Wind, humidity, speed. I think they can do it like that.
that's the missing piece is we don't have evidence that the government has technology that's able to fly this fast and basically take a precision shot because it's one shot. This is one shot, one kill from something flying apparently about 100 miles an hour. And if again, it's like if that capability exists, then this is as scary as it gets because nobody knows this is out there.
Well,
Now,
here's the other,
go
that
ahead.
shot coming, that shot's coming from his 10 o'clock. And it looked like if you put that back up, it looked like maybe um
How about this
four,
one?
about 40, 50 foot elevation, possibly. Um, would that shot have enough clearance to get over the spectators' heads and hit him in the neck when he was sitting down, right? So the elevation there, is that even feasible? I'm not sure. Now there's another theory out there, and again, I think I can pick that one apart too. But so I've heard, maybe the shot came from the right side and what you saw was an exit wound, but I don't think that's true either. And then the other one was, so here's the really one that's kind of, um, pretty spectacular is, so they're indicating that perhaps his microphone that was on his lapel was maybe a loaded type of microphone. I doubt it, but you saw a guy, one of his security guys, like pull on his shirt, and the theory is it was a trigger, and he fired a shot, and the mic went off, and that's what hit him in the neck. I'd throw that out the door because you're assuming that that thing was perfectly aimed at his
Blind.
neck,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. So I don't think I don't, and moreover, you would have seen recoil. You would have seen a lot more shit from that shot. So I don't believe that one bit. Um,
And charring, right? Wouldn't there be charring on the shirt
yeah.
from
I
the
mean,
charge, right?
yeah, exactly. And so there would have been a little bit of that. You would have seen some kind of discharge. There would have been some residue of some type coming out of there. So I don't think that's a viable theory either. I'm still inclined to believe it was a shot, but where did the shot come from? And was it really a 30-06? Maybe, maybe not. Um,
Yeah, I don't think so.
yeah, it could have been anything at that point. And so when you said last time you did the what do you call it? The sonic uh you know
Correct thumb. Yeah, correct thumb
yeah,
evaluation. Yeah.
yeah. Oh, the sonic analysis.
Hmm.
So originally it sounded like it was 140 something yards
Right.
from shot to thump, right? And that was lined up with the the ballistics of a 30-06 or that 300 Win Mag or whatever.
Right.
And now we're saying, nope, that's not possible. It's 75 to 78 yards.
Right.
Um, now that might change the weapon type of the ballistics, the caliber.
Mhm.
Um, Perhaps it's smaller. I would say it was smaller because now so now again, you know, we can make universals say, yeah, if a 30-06 hits you in the neck, it'd blow your whole neck out. Well, honestly, I've seen dudes get shot with 300 Win Mags, and through the shoulder, traveled through the chest, no exit wound, and they were dead as a doornail, and there was no blood. In fact, the one that I'm remembering was a sniper shot, one of our sniper shots. The guy had a little tiny hole, just a little tiny hole in his sleeve there, and you had to look for. There was no blood, there was nothing.
Wow.
Um, just a little hole, and it went right through the shoulder, went inside, went through his lungs, his heart, but never exited the other side. Um, so the theory that you'll see a big, a big exit wound and all kinds of blood. Well, not always the case, but in this case, because it did hit the carotid artery, um, I would think that round, if it was some in whatever caliber it was, it's going to keep going through, because I doubt it hit any bone.
Hmm?
So it's going to go through, hit that carotid artery. It's going to blow up. But where that bullet land, did they ever recover it? Right? Because it's somewhere in the back. It's there because if it's not in his neck. Okay, there's no way it's still in his neck. If it was in his neck, it's definitely not a 300 Win Mag or 30-06 or anything like that. 30 cal for sure. It went through. So maybe it was a smaller bullet, i.e., maybe it was something I don't know, 9 millimeter. From a zip gun attached to a drone, perhaps, and that would do
I
that kind of damage, right?
I
Uh,
think so. If the FBI is coming up with cover up stories like they did with COVID, right, or the CIA, whoever it is that comes up with the stuff, they tend. It's like they need a piece of it to be somewhat accurate. The 30-06 is a 30 cal round. It's a
right,
30 caliber. So it basically can stand in for a 7.62 because a 7.62 is also a 30 cal round.
right.
So I'm thinking when they tell the public it's a 30-06 from a Mauser 98, that's like a coronavirus from a bat in a bat cave in China when it's really a chicken virus from Wisconsin. It's like, but it's going to make a 30 millimeter, it's going to make a 30 caliber wound. The
Mhm.
wound will be consistent with a 30 cal shot, whether it's 30-06 or 7.62 by 39. So I'm thinking they shared that with the public in order to account for the degree of kinetic impact, the degree of damage, right? His cervical spine is destroyed. His head falls to the side. I think using 30-06 is like a smart counterintelligence play if in fact it's a 300 blackout or a 7.62 by 39 or something that's a little bit more tactical, that they don't want the public to know it's a tactical round. They don't want it to know that. They want you to think it's a deer hunting round from a transsexual furry. So 30-06 is perfect for that. And everybody, oh, 30-06 will kill a deer. And everybody's talking about it. It's like a red herring to me. I think it's some form of 30 cal.
Well, here's
And
what I think. I think it makes if you want a sniper theory and you come up with a Mauser that has no serial numbers on it, right? So it's an old World War I, World War II vintage weapon with no serial number. Okay, so now that's not traceable. You make up this story, it belonged to grandpa. Um, that would make sense if you're going to take a long shot, a sniper shot, but we're starting to believe it's not a long shot. It wasn't a sniper shot. It was within 78 yards. Now, here's the thing. Did it have to be 30 caliber? I believe no, because I think if you attach a 30 caliber to a drone or you brought it in any closer, the report's going to be a lot louder. And here's the thing, you could actually use let's just I'm gonna say 9 millimeter because 9 millimeters, it's a technically it's considered low velocity, although it's 1,300 feet per second. It falls in the space of a high velocity round. It does have some heat on it, and depending on the type of 9 millimeter, there's many
mhm,
configurations. It could
right.
have been a hollow point. It could have been look, man. Somebody they could have easily put together a round that had some type of tungsten core in it, made it armor piercing. They could have made it sort of mushrooms out. There's so many sexy bullets out there that expand I actually used to be a vendor for a company that, man, we had 9 mm, and I would shoot a watermelon with it, and it would literally blow that watermelon, like just blow it to pieces. Like didn't enter and go out the outside, just blew it apart, right? And so the design of the bullet will also determine the damage,
Right.
whether it's some type of temporary or permanent wound channel, the exit wounds, all those things. So that a 9 mm um, configured a certain way, you
I'm
can
with you. I
at
hear you.
78
Yeah.
at
Yeah.
78 yards, you can take a pretty accurate shot. Listen, an MP5, it's got a
Yeah.
pretty short barrel. I
Got
can
it right here.
shoot you right between the eyeballs every day, all day long at 100 meters, no problem,
Right.
right? And so
Right.
we attach a 9 mm barrel, and maybe we actually make it a 8 or 9 inch barrel on it to a 9 mm to a drone, and we put some specialty bullets in it. I think you get the same effect.
I think you're
And
right.
you're still going to have that loudness because it's now right over our heads when it goes off. All right, it's going to have a louder report, which might make you believe that it was a rifle. So you know,
I know what you're
uh,
saying. I'm with you. I'm agreeing with you. In fact, I've got some of those rounds you're talking about in my 357. So my 357 Magnum, I've got some of those rounds. I'll go grab some of them in a minute. Let's look at some footage together. I want to show you guys some stuff because this whole concept of getting shot from the right side and that the hole we see in his neck is an exit wound. The crack thump stuff doesn't really support that. So let's take a look at some of this footage here. And another aspect of this that I think is important is we're going to get to see the crowd. We're going to get to see the crowd in that vicinity where a shot may have been taken. So let's just kind of watch it. I'm going to keep the audio off. All right, so he's about to get shot now. All right, and the camera doesn't stay focused on him after he gets shot. It's going to pan around. But the point here is if we look at all those people up on that balcony on the stairwell, right? You see those guys up there above the shade tent who
yeah.
are looking from up in that vicinity. So if there was a shooter up there with a weapon, would the person to the left and the right of that person not have said, dude, what the fuck? Why'd you just shoot Charlie in the head? What the hell did you do that for? I mean, how do you
Well,
do that from that, you know?
yeah, you don't see anybody poised to take a shot, especially an accurate shot. There's
Right.
nobody poised to take a shot, right?
And here it
Um,
comes.
in that crowd.
Right now, we also see some bugs flying around. I don't know if you guys see the bugs. You see the bugs flying around?
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, so there's like bugs flying around in there.
I
A
still
lot of
can't.
bugs.
I still can't watch it.
So he's going to get popped right after he puts the mic bang. All right, now, if that's the shot right there, okay, well, who would have taken it from up on the right? Do we see anybody up there with a gun? Now, we see a flash in the window, though. All right, look above the tent right up here. All right, you can't see my cursor. All right,
Yeah, we can.
above, you can? You see my cursor up here?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, so look right here, and I'm going to rock the video. See that?
Yeah, there is a little flash there. You're right.
That's just in one frame.
Ah.
All right, so watch. I'm going to go forward, forward, see it. Now, when does Charlie get shot? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 frames, 7 frames, 8 frames. So 8 frames later, he gets shot. 8/30ths of a second is 4/15ths of a second. I don't know, man. That's too long to see. So, in other words, is that muzzle flash in that we're seeing in that reflection up there? I'm rocking back and forth now. Is that
Well,
muzzle flash?
yeah, so you see the guy's head bobbing up and down. It coincides with the flash. The guy in the white shirt um, looks a little bit bigger than everybody else. He's standing on top of him, basically. You see his head go up and down at the same time the flash happens. If you go back to it.
Oh yeah, you're right. Look at that. Is it? Yep. Is it a
Yeah,
reflection off the visor? You freaking genius, man.
it might be.
You look at you. You freaking genius. It could be a reflection off of glasses on the head or the visor. But now keep watching. Okay, I'm going to rock forward. Wait, here we go. All right, so there's the reflection. Boom. And the head moves, right? Head, reflection all at the same time.
Yep.
Now I go forward. I'm going to go forward 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We see something else in the glass now.
A little dot there, right?
Yeah, look. You see that? I'm rocking. Okay. Now look. Now that, I don't know, is that a reflection of a UAV or is that a bug? Because we saw bugs all over the place. I don't
think it's a UAV. It's too small,
Yeah.
you know? I was
All right,
thinking maybe,
Charlie's been shot.
yeah.
All right. So we see some reflections up there, but at the moment he shot, is that a reflection of a muzzle blast? I doubt it. Now, we do see at the moment he shot, there is a dot right behind this guy. And in front of, so right here, we got a dot. You guys see that? I'm going to rock.
Mhm.
You see that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it seems to go further back by this guy and his head. And so is that a bug or is that a round or is that a piece of flesh flying out of Charlie's head or something? So watch again. Charlie's hit. Boom. Boom.
Do we have
No.
any idea what the depth is? I mean, is that by the guys back there, or is that 5 feet from the camera?
Well, it's got to be. Good question.
Is that? I mean, that's
Don't know.
that's the difference between like a piece of pollen
Ooh,
and like a
you know what? You know what? Tommy, look down here. Look at this guy's shoulder.
All right,
You see that? See that dot?
is it the same one? Oh, and now it's in front of his knee. Wait, go back. Do you see it appear right in front of Charlie's? Or that's the microphone. Sorry.
Okay. So I see it at the kid's shoulder now.
Yeah.
One frame.
Now
and
it's behind the guy's head.
Right. And then it's there. So 1, 2, 3. I think it's a bug.
Yeah.
Might be a
I think
bug.
it's a bug. I think
Yeah.
it's from this guy's shoulder
And then
to,
yeah.
to here. And then there. And I think it's a bug because now I'm going to go back 1, 2 frames and it's at the red kid's shoulder again.
Yeah, I think that's a gnat.
Okay, so here's an observation.
Yes,
If
sir.
if the bullet came from the front, and
Mhm.
it was some type of 30 caliber, because it went through the neck, it would have gone through the neck. It would not have lodged in the neck. No way. It would have been a through and through shot. Now, you don't see any splash on that white, whatever that thing is, that material in the back. There's no impact. It's not moving. There's nothing post impact on the Charlie's neck in that wall back there, right? Well, I think it looks like some type of backdrop they put
Yeah.
back there.
Yeah.
I think if it was hit with a bullet, you'd see some movement, vibration, or maybe even a hole going through it. Maybe from a blood splatter. You don't see any of that. So in my mind, he didn't get hit with a 30-06. I'm thinking I'm gonna stick with my theory. It was some type of 9mm expanding ammunition. And it stopped in his neck, and it should still be in his neck. So if it did pass through, it's laying on the floor. Somebody should have picked that up and saw it. So it was not a 30-06. It was not 30 caliber because it would have went through that neck, through that carotid artery, and it would have at least impacted that backdrop. I don't see any indication that it was hit by anything. It didn't even move, not even a little bit. So again, I'm thinking it was something else, maybe 9mm of some type with possibly expanding ammunition that did that kind of damage. And so if it did, then if it was an expanded bullet, then there's got to be remnants of it somewhere. Either like they pulled out of his neck, go, that's not a 308, that's a 9mm, or it's laying on the floor somewhere.
All right.
So-
So here's here's the thing. If you're right, and very well could be. If it is a 9mm, one of those fancy tipped ones that you and I both love, I got to recalculate the crack thump for the slower muzzle velocity, and it's significant. It's about half.
Well, actually, it might not be slower, right? So let's just say you take 9mm and you add some a little bit more powder to it, right? You beef
plus P and a 9-inch barrel.
And we're not we're assuming they just went to Walmart and bought a box of 9mm.
Right.
I'm pretty sure if you're gonna go through the trouble of doing this shit, you're gonna fucking custom make a bullet that's gonna have a little bit more ass to it, a little bit more heat to it, and it's gonna get the job done. So that's why I'm thinking something in the range of a 9mm, 1,300 feet plus per second, and and it's going to be some type of expanding or like a sable round. It's going to deliver a second round. There's going to be some type of specialty ammo. And I know
I like the 300 blackout as far as the size of it. Seems like a reasonable compromise.
But the problem is, so you're talking about going through that much tissue on the side of the neck, right? It is not going to embed in there. It's going to just keep on going through and through. There's no way it's just going to stop there.
So even with 300 blackout, you think is too much punch, and it
would have burned right through, and you would have saw it hit the back wall, right? Even if they used expanding ammo for 300 blackout, it has still kept on traveling, unless they use some type of frangible. But even frangible, when it hits flesh, doesn't just go poof and disappear. It does that when it's something solid, but not flesh. Okay, it was still kept its composition to some degree.
All right.
So I'm not buying it was a 300.
All right, I'm going to lean towards you. All right, I'm going to recalculate and see what that does. If I just back off on the muzzle velocity a little bit, let me see what that does, because it may line up with where the UAVs are, may not. Who the hell knows? But forgive me. Right after the shot's taken, the people who are up and to the right of him are not chasing a perp. They're not all looking to the side like you just shot Charlie. There's not a convergence of people. Like everybody's not looking at one another and pointing to somebody and go, hey, that guy just... Yeah. If a shot was taken from there, and again, this is my bias, right? I'm assuming if a shot was taken from that vicinity, the people up in that area would absolutely tightly packed. I mean, how the hell do you take a shot from up there?
Yeah, you can't.
It didn't come up from there. There's no way. So we can rule that out. There's no way it came from the crowd.
And he's got a backdrop behind him. So if you wanted to take a shot from behind, you can't see your target.
No, exactly. And you got that tent there. So he's gonna that shot is a masked shot. He'd have to be at a lower elevation to take a shot. So I would rule that out. I'm more inclined to believe it did come from his left flank at 9 and 10 o'clock is what I think, and probably somewhere around 78 to 100 meters. But the question is, why did nobody out there see the drone fire? Or maybe the barrel was suppressed on it. There's a lot of noise. He's talking on a PA system. That sound could have easily been masked. Moreover,
let's play it. I've got it here. Yeah. Let's play let me stop sharing this one. Let me get this one. This is the shot. And this is probably the clearest audio that we have. This is the audio from the guy up on the walkway. All right, so this is Bartholomew's audio, and this is from his device, meaning this is like from his iPad. So this is about as clear as we're going to get.
Say that one more time real quick. We also don't condone Hamas. We think that genocide's wrong on both sides. We're just saying that we're not advocating Israel is the one that's doing the most right. We're pro-Jewish people and pro-Palestinian people. We just think people should live and people have a right to live. And that's kind of back to like the love one another thing. It's like love everyone. Love everyone, regardless of race, everything.
Well, thanks, guys. Appreciate you guys coming out here.
We appreciate you. Love you.
Are you going to go down and see get closer? Are they like restricting you guys up here or what?
Nah, it's too crowded. It's just, there's just so much. Before we had a flag and we had it so it was positioned above the tent so it would be in the camp and get us moved.
What was that? He just got shot! Holy shit! Holy shit! Down and see get closer? Are they like restricting you guys up here or what?
Nah, it's too crowded. It's just, there's just so much. Before we had a flag and we had it so it was positioned above the tent so it would be in the camp and get us moved.
What was that?
Okay, So I got another theory to support that too. All right, that's a pretty loud report.
Right.
Yeah, that was a
But
boom.
but again, what if this ammo had an extra load in it? And here's the other theory: if we saw the drone flying away, okay, think now, drones can fly backwards. Oh, they're not. It's not like this at the front of the drone. You can flip a drone around; it can fly backwards.
Right.
And what if that drone was flying backwards, still dialed in on him, and took that shot? Okay. And because the report was coming from an elevation, you're more likely going to hear it. Everybody's going to hear it because it's above our head. And what if it, like I said, look, I've got I got an FNFAL with a 9-inch barrel on it, 7.62, and when I shoot that thing, it sounds
Well,
like
an FN. What is it? An FN? What?
FNFAL.
Okay. With a
Yeah,
9-inch barrel?
yeah, it's a pistol. Yeah,
Nice, nice.
yeah,
Okay.
when I shoot that thing, you think I just shot a howitzer, man. So,
Yeah, it's
uh,
kaboom. Yeah,
so when when you alter the barrel and you alter the muzzle brake, and then now maybe this drone's actually flying away, taking a shot backwards, which, by the way, if you think about the logic on that one, it looked like it was flying away from Charlie Kirk, but if it was aiming at him, it could still get a nice clean shot as it's moving away.
sure.
Rather than trying to dive bomb in and take the shot, I think that would have been more noticeable than if the
And
thing was flying away.
the recoil acts as an acceleration for it to leave the scene. To leverage the
So,
recoil as like a slingshot, like taking off from an aircraft carrier. Use the
exactly,
recoil and run with it and disappear.
exactly.
Like judo.
So,
Take
so
that kinetic energy.
that answers the question about that 78-yard shot, because that puts that drone right about over that point.
I wish we could see muzzle blast or a puff of smoke but we
Well,
see nothing here. Let's watch it again.
Positioned above the tent, so it would be in the camera. They just move.
Wait a second. Wait a
Tent, so it
second.
would be in the camera.
Let's watch in the trees. Keep your eyes on the tree between the two kids.
So before we had a flag and we had it, so it's positioned above the tent.
There's
so
a
it would be
bug.
in the camera. They just move.
What was that? He just got shot! Holy shit! Holy shit! There's been a shooting. There's been a shooting. We heard shots. We heard shots.
And so it was from this footage that Jason finds all the freaking drones flying around. It's like you don't even notice them. I sure as hell don't. I don't see the drones, but they're here.
Yeah.
Nobody's noticing them, and they're flying all over the place. So, and again, the rapport from the shot, one more time.
Above the tent, so it would be in the camera. They just move.
What was that?
It's just there's just so much. So before we had a flag and we had it, so it's positioned above the tent, so it would be in the camera. They just move.
What was that?
So that's from that aspect, from that perspective over there. And, like I said, that's probably the clearest audio that we have. And all that's going on. And 24 minutes after the shot is taken, we got these guys at 200 feet.
Yeah, I'm thinking.
Tommy, you know these guys, right? You remember these guys.
Mm-hmm.
50 million, we can buy it. I think you set up a GoFundMe, Tommy. I think in 10 days we raised 50 million. And we picked this thing up from the gang at Lidos. Wait, doesn't that just leave that stuff on board? That's fine. We'll take it as is. The special mission interior suits us just fine.
Yeah,
This is the plane. This is the plane.
I'm telling you, yeah, this is looking more and more like it's a drone op. I mean,
I'm not saying the drone shot Charlie, but we got a drone airplane. We got a lot of drones, and the crack thump is telling us it's not 145 yards where the sniper's nest was.
and we have an airplane capable of depositing drones and guiding drones, literally, man. I mean, drones have advanced so much so that literally you can guide a drone like a guided missile very accurately and watch it. There's probably video footage. They probably have it from the drone of the shot being taken.
Yeah, so yeah, they got the whole thing. Crowd reaction, crowd movement.
Yeah, I'm telling you, I'm not buying the kid shooting. It's not adding up. Not
I don't
adding
think
up.
so. I don't think so either. And the interesting thing is how much activity there was on the red herring stuff. So Tommy, there's a lot of people online talking about the microphone blew up. A lot of people talking about the shot came from behind. A lot of people talking about there's a trap door underneath. Now people are talking about there's a hologram. It's like everything but the spy plane and the drones. It's like, if there's drones and a spy plane, why do you think there's an exploding microphone? And everybody for 10 days was talking about how he was wearing a bulletproof vest and the shot ricocheted off his vest. And I was like, he's not wearing a freaking vest. What do you care? I got a vest. If I wear my vest, people can tell I'm wearing my vest. I mean, everybody knows I'm wearing my vest. So
it won't bounce off anyways. It won't bounce
yeah,
off.
right. So this whole, it's just red herring after red herring after red herring. And yet they're ignoring the elephant and the gorilla in the room. It's like the elephant is the UAVs and the gorilla is the spy plane. And they both smell like shit, Tom.
Yeah.
It's like, how do you avoid the stink? You got UAVs flying all over the place. You got a spy plane at 200 feet. Let's talk about the microphone. That seems a little weird. I mean, it seems to me like people are trying to mislead the public. It seems like everybody on YouTube or on Twitter is talking about all the wrong stuff. Even Chris Martinson, who did the crack thump and came up with similar stuff to me, ignoring the UAVs and ignoring the spy plane. That's limited hangout behavior. Right? And nothing should be off limits except for it's a flat earth, right? We don't have time for that horse shit. Space is real. It's not gay. Space is real. Earth is not flat. Other than that, I'm not sure I got time for the lizard people conversation, but most things are up for conversation. Why are they avoiding the UAVs? Why are they avoiding the spy plane?
Well, here's I can debunk the lapel microphone thing. Here's why. All right. In order for my trigger mechanism to be connected to the weapon on his lapel, it's got to be some type of a signal that's going to set that off, which means that thing has to have a safety on it, because if it's an open signal waiting for me to pull the trigger, an errant RF signal from anywhere could set that lapel mic off, right? So it's got to be on safe until you're ready to go. You have to arm it. And it did say, well, he did kind of pull on his shirt, but look, he pulled on his shirt, but the shot didn't happen right away. It happened after that, so that didn't happen. And no real operator or operative is going to basically take that kind of a risk. It's too shaky. It's just too shaky. So
it's like the movies. Yeah, it's like
that one out. That didn't happen. That didn't happen from the right flank. You didn't get it. There was no exit wound. That didn't happen either. We saw no reaction from the crowd. And now
I saw footage, Dale, from when the Israelis did the beeper thing, the pagers, and they blew up the pagers, right? And it looks like an explosion in the guy's pants. I mean, it looks like charred. You got charred clothing, charred flesh. I mean, there's an explosion going on, and it looks like there was an explosion. Charlie's wearing a white shirt. If there had been an incendiary event under his neck, the shirt would be charred, the skin would be charred. We literally have the footage from the Israeli beeper attack. And by the way, what you were just saying about the safety, I was reading that with the Israeli beeper attack, they got a message that said, you've received an encrypted message. Press enter to decrypt. So there was a safety even with the Israeli one. Absolutely. That it required the recipient to hit the button for the damn thing to explode.
Right.
So you are right. Even the Israelis put a frickin' safety on there. They wouldn't just send out the signal and have it explode. You had to hit the press to decode in order for it to activate. Yeah.
And we'll actually talk about that on the 9/11 thing too, right? Look, you get the same problem with that, right? That whole theory. That's why it's bullshit. So anyways, so I'm, through the process of elimination in my mind, anyways, it all comes back to that was not a sniper shot from 140 something meters or yards. Plus everything, the post, you know, the post attack piece of it is not adding up. The clothes, the change of clothes, the screwdriver, blah blah blah. None of that adds up. I think he was just a patsy. The part that's starting to make more sense and more sense is the drone option. And you know, I've worked with drones for a very long time. In fact, I belong to an organization that we actually were the first ones to experiment with using tactical drones.
Mhm.
And I've been exposed to some crazy drones out there, like shit that you don't even believe can even exist, but it does. And that was many years ago. So I can just imagine what's available now. So, and I've been saying this for years. I said, the next, I don't know how the Secret Service is going to deal with the drone issue.
Yeah.
How are you going to stop a drone, a kamikaze drone that's got AI programming in it, facial recognition? How are you going to stop that from taking out the president? Especially if it's a swarm of drones. That's going to be how do you, what are you going to do? Have
Uh,
everybody mark with a, with a, with
Angel
a,
has fallen, right? That's the plot of Angel has fallen. The president is attacked by a swarm of drones, right? I mean, that's how it opens.
so I'm very inclined to believe this was initiated from a drone. Command and control was probably from that fixed wing at 200 feet. Or look, it didn't have to be at 200 feet. At 200 feet could have been the elevation where it deposited the drones, dropped the
Right.
drone.
Right.
It goes back up to a higher elevation. Why? Because you have better line of sight. So they could have actually controlled that from afar. They could have been several states away, thousands of miles away, just like an AWACS, right? And
Just
so,
like the Reapers and right, the Reapers and the Predators. They're flying them out of containers in Nevada, but they're over in Iraq, right? The pilot's sitting in Nevada at Creech, right? Right, they're up at Creech flying them, but the units are over there. They're satellite control.
yeah,
So yeah, this is all satellite control, guys.
I'm
You don't have
thinking
to be. You don't have to be anywhere near the damn thing. We're on the other side of the world flying Reapers and Predators, and the pilots work at Creech, right? Is it Creech? Is that what it is Tommy? Creech?
Nevada, I don't know. There's a ton out in Nevada.
I think it's called Creech. Yeah, I think it's Creech is the name of the base.
Yeah, there's a ton out there. Creech,
Yeah.
right past.
So
I think Holloman's. There's a zillion out in Nevada.
yeah. So in fact, I think there was a TV show about a drone or a movie about a drone pilot from Creech that gets honey potted and they target him and something happens. I forget if it was a TV show or whatever. But what Dale's saying is spot on. I mean, you don't need to be line of sight to control these things if we've got satellite capability.
yeah.
Which, we've been using, like you said, we've been doing this for years. The Reapers, the Predators.
Or even Thomas drone has AI facial recognition. It can do it all by itself, right? So, I mean, we're there.
What are those hats called? The sombrero, Tommy? I think we're going to have to get some sombreros. The bigger, the better.
Over your face.
Oh, man. It's getting creepy. I mean, Dale, I feel like we're I said it last time. I feel like we're in, the Terminator. We got things flying around, doing facial recognition. Bang, you're dead. Nobody knows it happened.
Yeah.
This is heavy, heavy. And again, the fact that nobody's acknowledging this, Tommy, right? Joe Rogan doesn't think this is relevant, right? Steven Crowder doesn't think this is weird. Bunch of drones flying around, and a spy plane. Steven Crowder's not concerned about that.
Normally, I wouldn't, but I would extend the benefit of the doubt simply because it was still only what 20 or 19 days ago. It's
So
still
come up with 3 weeks.
relatively. Normally, I wouldn't. I have no love for conning, but I would extend the benefit of the doubt to where I just look at it like I'm in this podcast. Obviously, I talk to you guys, so I'm here for the whole thing. If I wasn't, and I just saw a random blurb about it, it was drones deployed from a Learjet. I'd be like, all right, I don't believe the tranny thing, but I also don't believe that. That's just
Right.
first
Right.
glance. That's what I would feel, and then I would look at it and probably go, oh wait, no, it is fucked. But
And they're
I would give
counting on
them the
that,
benefit of
right?
the doubt just because it's still pretty close in proximity.
All right. Fair enough.
But that's a
Just to,
limited. That's a limited benefit of doubt. I'd give
yeah.
them up to about
You're
a
right.
month.
Yeah, yeah. They're running out of rope. I
They
hear
get
you.
to October 10th, and I'd be like, all right. If there's still no major, like this is what happened, well, that you have to start,
There's
turning over
two,
stones that you don't
there's two
want to.
phenomena at play here too, right? So
Yeah.
one of them is the Dunning-Kruger effect. People think they're smarter than what they really are. So we got all
Yep.
these experts out there,
Yeah.
and this is how it happened, right? And I was a sniper, blah blah blah, blah 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 blah. So they don't even know what they don't know, right? And so they're speculating, but because they're a subject matter expert, supposedly, everybody's more inclined to believe their hypothesis or their theory, right? However, then there's another aspect of this too, and that's the other extreme. You've got a lot of useful idiots out there, right? They just swallow everything up because they don't have the intelligence, they don't have the information. They can't wrap their head around the idea. What do you mean a drone from a Learjet that can fly autonomously and has facial recognition? It can be armed with a gun and kill somebody. Well, we know that's possible. I absolutely know that's possible because I've been in that space. But like you said earlier, for most people, the mass population out there is just like woo doo 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 doo. They can't comprehend that part. And then you got the other extreme. You got the really guys that think they're really super smart and they're overanalyzing this thing and they're overlooking, Occam's razor. They're overlooking the thing that's probably the most likely thing that happened. And the drones. Nobody's talking about the drones. Nobody's talking about the airplane anymore, and because they can't connect the two. But you've done the research already, John. The Army has stated, hey, we got an airplane that can deposit drones now, right? So, um, and I think whoever the puppeteers are, they know that, right? They know that phenomenon.
Mm.
They understand there's going to be guys like us out there, so these subject matter experts, and then there's going to be, and we're going to be so technically proficient and elevated and so smart about this stuff, it's going to sound like that's impossible. It's just too fantastic. And then you got the other extreme. People are really not too smart at all, and super gullible. Um, and I think that's where we're at, man. It's Dunning-Kruger's effect and the
And
dumb masses. And there's
and
no, you
I
know,
would
I would argue that we are probably, and it sound a little bold when I say this, but I actually think we're the more reasonable ones out there because we've actually done the work, not just in one couple hours, but we've been doing this for several weeks. We keep reanalyzing, keep looking at it, and then going, oh, you know what? We were off on this. Maybe it's this now, right? So that's how you figure things out. It's you do
Refining, right? We
yeah,
keep
through the
refining and refining and
yeah,
refining.
you're doing the work, right? And so we're actually doing the work, and you know, we brought together our expertise and real world knowledge, not speculation, and it's starting to synthesize into something we think is more reasonable. And although it seems very extraordinary, very fantastic, um, but it's making more and more sense, right? Um,
Similar to the Vegas shooting, right? We're coming up on the Vegas shooting anniversary in 2 days. Same thing. The real story sounds incredible.
yeah,
Saudi commandos hanging out of Apaches and Blackhawks and AH-6Is shooting girls in the head. It's like, what? How the, huh? Right? And the COVID was actually bird flu from Wisconsin and the vaccine. It's like, what? When the narrative is that different from the real story, there's such a huge gap. It's really hard to take that leap and say, what?
yeah,
It-
right.
and story after staying with Butler. It wasn't Thomas Crooks. You mean there was more shots being taken and they were suppressed and subsonic? Now I'm questioning, was there a guy in the tree, Tommy? Was there a shooter in the tree? Or was there simply a suppressed version of this doodad flying around and taking shots at the Secret Service guys? And they're spinning around looking for the shooter. Yeah, they're aiming towards the tree. I thought the guy was in the tree until new evidence came up showing us, wait a second, those drones we see flying around in Butler, they may not have been the benevolent drones. They may not have been the Secret Service drones. We thought they were the good guys. Maybe not. Was this spy on spy at Butler? Did the Secret Service have their one shitty drone and the bad guys had 5 killer drones? Is that what happened in Butler? Was the shot that I thought was taken from the trees, was it really taken from the same thing that just killed Charlie Kirk? But it was suppressed. Like I said last time, if it were me, Dale, I'd order one with a Huxworks that I can suppress or unsuppress. Do I want to call attention to the shot or not? If I want to be, I push the little button, the Huxworks comes together, wraps around the barrel, and I got a nice quiet shot. Well, if I want to call attention, hey, I'm over here. I'm shooting from over here. I push the button and the Huxworks comes off.
Well, expand on that.
That's me.
What if you had a Volkswagen-sized drone in Las Vegas shooting, right? And that's why it was not on the.
They make it too.
Right? They had them flying all over New Jersey, and so
Yeah,
now,
people are saying those were SUV sized. Yeah.
All right.
What if it was one of those actually letting go, right?
Could be.
Right. We've already established that there was a brass sprinkle city block to city block in all the parking lots. So it didn't come from the hotel. Right.
It could be a mixture. I mean, the only thing is that we do have eyewitnesses. We've got 2 eyewitnesses saying that they literally saw the commandos hanging off the sides in the window washing straps, which you've been in. So I'm sure you've been there, done that. So when you're in the window washer strap and you're hanging off the side of the helicopter, you got your gun in one hand and you're, stabilizing with the other. I got 2 eyewitnesses saying they saw that, but that doesn't mean that it couldn't have been a combined exercise with, a couple choppers with guys and a couple of, unmanned units. Yeah. Who the hell knows? I mean, it absolutely is a possibility.
Well, actually, think about it. You could have had a helo with the guys in there with C2 command and control. They're actually controlling the drone, watching the video of the flare and directing the weapon system onto the target, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. 2 talking guns from your cockpit. You shoot, you shoot from there. You shoot from there. You do talking guns from where you sit. All these things are possibilities that are opening up because of this discovery of the Charlie Kirk thing. The Charlie Kirk incident is forcing us to revisit the Butler incident because we see UAVs there and they look similar to me.
Well, here's what's interesting about that part. Remember, so when that first happened, right away, I was on podcasts like within hours, because I actually predicted that it was going to happen the day before, and everybody was shocked. Like, how did you know? I said, well, I didn't know it was going to happen the next day, but I knew it was going to happen. But my first thought on the Butler Creek thing was, why were there no drones flying, doing reconnaissance, right? If you had drones up flying the perimeter, you would be able to pick up anybody climbing the roof, in the trees, all those types of things. So, okay, so in my mind, there was no Secret Service drones in the air. And if they were, the drone pilots were asleep because they should have picked up anybody up there. So the drones that were there, whose drones were they? So maybe those drones were the attack drones. Maybe they are the ones that did it now. So you're right. We might want to go back and revisit that.
I think we have to. We know the Secret Service had a guy there named Ed Castro who was on their sheet. So they have like a call sheet of all the people who were assigned to the day. He's on the sheet. And he was like the white hat pilot. So they supposedly had a drone. Chuck Grassley told us they launched the drone at such and such a time. So we did have a white hat drone in the sky, but I'm not sure that's the one we see on the footage, right? So the footage we see, we got something zooming around just like at the Charlie Kirk thing. And so that is drawing me back to Butler right now. I feel we've got to go revisit that footage, look at that, compare it to what we see going on in Utah. And if it looks like it's the same unit, then potentially we've got a group of people within the government with access to this stuff that are trying to kill the president, that may have killed Charlie Kirk. I don't know that they're going to stop anytime soon. And the fact that nobody's talking about these aspects, which I consider the most compelling, pivotal, game-changing aspects, means basically everybody's a limited hangout. I mean, the evidence is there. There is no controversy, Tommy, about the airplane. The airplane is there. It's on flight aware, flight radar, wherever you want to go check it, at 200 feet and 118 knots the day of the killing, 2 times. I mean, it's a matter of record. Right? The UAVs we see flying around, I mean, that's kind of incontrovertible at this point. I mean, that's not really, I mean, people think those are grasshoppers? I don't think so. So, how much longer can people ignore this without losing all credibility? It's going to be interesting. I know, Dale, you got to wrap it up. You got places to be. You're probably 10 minutes late already.
Yeah, no worries. I'm gonna get.
Yeah, and also just to be fully self-critical, we ourselves could be guilty of Dunning-Kruger or Occam's razor. Just
Could be.
Just
Could
as
be.
just as in the spirit of open-mindedness and refining of theories, we could also be in our own bubble.
We're only less than 3 weeks out from the event. We're accumulating evidence, and what we do, like I said at the beginning of the show, you formulate a straw man hypothesis, and you keep testing that.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, I think Dale and I are leaning towards, if we see UAVs in the same zone where the radii connect, it's kind of indicating that the shot kind of came from a UAV. Now, we don't necessarily have evidence of that capability yet, right? So we don't know who makes a unit that can fly 100 miles an hour and take a precise shot. We haven't found that yet. Doesn't mean it doesn't exist. So it's a working hypothesis. It may be wrong. There could be a little dude up there, some little man. What do they call little people? Some little midget dude with a little tiny gun, and he's up there, and it's the lollipop kids, and he took the shot. We just can't see him because he's below the balcony. I don't know. I don't know what the hell happened. We're trying to figure it out. But the science indicates the shot came from there and not that rooftop. UAVs flying around, nobody seems to want to talk about, is creepy. And then we got the spy plane. So it's a working theory at the moment.
That airport classification. Other
than that,
does not bode well.
Right. And two missed approaches, 24 minutes after the shooting. So as more evidence comes in, we're going to get more footage. We're going to get more recordings. We'll be able to do more crack thump analysis. And we just keep zeroing in and refining until we pretty much have zeroed in on it. So that's where I think we're at, guys. I can't thank you enough, Dale. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thanks for sharing your experiences, man.
I'll upload this as soon as we get off, and then I'll send it to both of you guys.
Great.
Man, these episodes,
eyes open, man.
These episodes are taking years off my life.
I think sombrero sales are about to skyrocket. So I'm investing. I'm very bullish on sombreros right now. So
fair enough. All right, Joe. Let's wrap this up. Everybody watching, please go to the description. Please go grab Dale's books. Go to his Instagram. Follow him on Instagram. John's Twitter. His YouTube. His Patreon. Subscribe star. All that good stuff. And until next time, guys. Thank you so much.
Bye, guys.
Gentlemen.